Have you seen the SNL skit More Cowbell with Will Ferrell and Christopher Walken? I'll play some of it for you here.
But the last time I checked, we don't have a whole lot of songs that feature the cowbell.
I gotta have more cowbell, baby.
And I'd be doing myself a disservice and every member of this band if I didn't perform the hell out of this.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Thank you, Bruce.
I have a link to the whole thing in the description below. I think it's pretty funny. You might think it's dumb, but either way, we can agree that more cowbell is not a good idea, right? That's the gist of the joke. And whenever I hear someone say, we need more regulation, it's like they're banging a cowbell in my ear. It drives me nuts. It's obvious that more regulation is not a good idea. All regulations do is it hurts the honest people. The honest people follow the regulations to their detriment, whereas the dishonest people, the criminals, ignore the regulations to their benefit. And the fraud with Sam Bankman-Fried and the collapse of the FTX crypto exchange is just one great example of that. And that whole story, that whole saga has gone on for 2 years now. It's like one giant SNL episode. It's crazy. But I want to kind of hone in here on the events since October, which I think was the catalyst and led to the collapse. And where it starts here, where I'm going to start, is the Digital Commodities Consumer Protection Act. And this is a proposed bill. It's not law. This hasn't gone through yet, but it's a proposed bill that was leaked. And on that same day it was leaked, Sam posted on the FTX website his thoughts on crypto regulation, and he did a tweet thread on it. And that thread kind of went viral. A lot of people in the crypto community weren't happy about it. They were against it. And the gist of it was, the reason people are against it is because the way these regulations were proposed is it would create a regulatory moat around FTX and at the same time hamstring their competition, most notably DeFi, decentralized finance. And so people like Erik Voorhees, who are big proponents of DeFi, had their own criticisms and concerns. And Erik was going back and forth with Sam on tweets, and then they agreed to record a podcast with Bankless, and I got a link to that in the description. It's 2 hours long, where the two of them, they present both their sides. I think Erik presents his quite well. Erik is on the side of no regulation, or at least not these regulations, and Sam is on the side for the regulation. And so for what it's worth, for you to know about Erik Voorhees, he's one of the true crypto OGs. He's one of the first people to speak publicly about Bitcoin when it first came out. And he's also one of the first people to incorporate Thorchain into his website Shapeshift. Thorchain is a decentralized exchange. It's quite literally the solution to problems like FTX. And there's no fractional reserve banking. It enhances self-custody of crypto. It's technically possible now for people to trade within their cold storage wallets. So Thorchain is the future as far as I'm concerned. But I digress. So Erik's stance here is that DeFi is already regulated in the sense that we have existing regulations that everybody has to follow. And DeFi cannot be regulated the same way as CeFi. It's like trying to apply horse regulations to automobiles. It doesn't work, right? They're two completely different things. They have to be treated differently. Plus, it's also important to note that part of regulation is transparency. And you can't get more transparent or more regulated than DeFi. All the code is open source. Anyone can see it. All the assets are on chain. Anybody can audit it. All the transactions are there for anybody to track and look at it. It's really quite impossible to be any more transparent. And it leads me to the clip from this movie. It made me think of this.
Oh my God. pulled over. He can't pull over any farther.
So bonus points if you know what movie that's from. I think it's the best opening scene of a movie ever. I'll let you figure that out on your own. But so DeFi is already pulled over. It can't pull over any further, right? And DeFi is self-regulated in the sense that the developers have to write code to protect their users. If they're writing malicious code where people are losing money, it's not going to last. And now the developers could write crappy code where there's a hack or an exploit and people lose money. That's certainly possible. And any good developer, they'll tell you about their own code that that's possible, right? But that's simple human error and kind of buyer beware. No amount of regulation is going to change that. It is what it is. And but over time, if that code isn't, if there's no problems or issues with it, then in theory, the safer it is. And this is the whole concept of the Lindy effect. But more importantly, it's no one's forcing you or anyone else to buy crypto. If you don't like the risks involved, if you think it needs to be regulated or isn't, or you don't like how anything's being done, don't buy it. Just live and let live, right? And so some people are comfortable with those risks. Some people want to take those risks. That's up to them. And so why can't the government just let people be responsible for their own actions and let things be? Why do they have to stick their nose in it and get involved? And the answer isn't because they want to try and protect you. The gist of their regulation and what they're proposing is about eliminating your privacy and tracking everything you do. And this is what really gets people worked up, is especially the crypto people, who a lot of them are huge advocates of privacy, and they understand full well that privacy is fundamental to freedom. Privacy is fundamental to protection. Without privacy, we don't have protection from thieves. So if somebody, the best way for somebody to steal from you is to eliminate your privacy. And that's exactly what the governments are trying to do and want to do, right? This is the whole point of a CBDC, central bank digital currency, is to eliminate your privacy so they can track you. And then another reason governments, can't leave well enough alone and have to get involved is because people like Sam Bankman-Fried lobby for regulation to try and prevent competition, entrench themselves, and to get away with fraud. And so it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes: "The more corrupt the state, the more numerous the laws." And even if you've never heard that before, it's true, right? Just sit there and think about it. This is the case. It's what we're living through right now. And I doubt Sam Bankman-Fried is going to go to jail. He's the second largest donor to Joe Biden's campaign. He's donated to Democrats during the midterm elections here, right up, just before the company went bankrupt. And so originally, I was naive enough to think that this is great. We've got somebody in the crypto space who's going to lobby for the sector, get politicians involved, get it up on the top of their list, make it a priority, try to make it a legitimate investment class, yada, yada, yada. But, it turns out he's just buying his get out of jail free card. And, and you think about it too, do you think any of these politicians are going to return the money that was donated to them, return it back to FTX, to the users, to help make them whole? No, of course they won't. They're going to keep it. And so, Sam has been, he's been rubbing elbows with everyone in the deep state. Earlier this year, he organized a conference in the Bahamas that featured Tony Blair and Bill Clinton. You see a picture of them here. FTX is also a partner of the World Economic Forum, which you can see here. But this was removed from their website when the company was collapsing here this month. And over the last couple of years, FTX is even putting money towards the COVID propaganda. Jeffrey Tucker highlighted the connections in his article, The COVID Crypto Connection. And I'll put the link for that in the description. So all this money that Sam's been donating is paying dividends now, because even corporate media, the left corporate media, is starting to back him and defend them. The Washington Post, Forbes, the New York Times, they wrote some puff pieces. They're almost making puff pieces on him. They're almost making him sound like he's the victim. And look at this headline from the Wall Street Journal. Right? Like you can't make this stuff up. And if this is enough to make you sick, on November 30th, Sam slated to speak at the New York Times Deal Book Summit. And check out this list of speakers. Right, so everyone you love to hate. And so here's a guy who's behind the largest fraud since Bernie Madoff. And not only is he walking around free, he's giving speeches still amongst the world's elite. And I love this meme here with Madoff. And so you know it's true, right? If these people are all connected, they'll back each other, support each other. And so what good are regulations if the people who violate them are friends with the people who enforce them, right? They're never going to be held accountable. And this has nothing to do with crypto, right? This is true of all markets through all of history, right? You know this exists, right? And then what's worse is if Sam does actually go to court, he might argue that he was actually following regulations and the collapse of FTX was just bad luck, because there's so many regulations out there and they're so convoluted and backwards. It's possible that everything that FTX was doing was technically legal. And this is no different than what banks were doing in the 2000s that led up to the crash in 2008. And this is why regulations don't make anything better and just make everything worse. And to make matters worse, the regulators themselves, the people who write these regulations to try and prevent the next fraud, the next crash, they never take responsibility for any of this. Instead, they just argue, well, we need more of the same. We need more of our regulations that don't work, and all that happens is it leads to more frauds and more crashes. And so for me, it's so obvious. It drives me nuts how more people don't get it. But you know what? There is somebody who does. Sam Bankman-Fried. And check out this quote. F regulators. They make everything worse. They don't protect customers at all. And I mean, it blows my mind. You can't make this stuff up. So this is a quote from a private text exchange he had with someone, which was leaked and turned into an article, a Vox article. Sam Bankman-Fried tries to explain himself. And I'll put the link for that in the description. And here's a screenshot of that text. And you can see at the bottom there. So, but really, when you think about it, who better to know regulations don't work than the people who violate them, right? At least he's being honest. And so we don't need more regulations, right? We don't need more cowbell. What we need is accountability for the people who break the law, right? Only then will that stop others from committing the same problems, the same crimes. So, Sam, everything he's doing and did right now is the exact same things that have been done in traditional finance in years and decades past. And the only thing difference between him and others that are going on right now is that Sam got caught and the others haven't been caught yet. And when people like Sam do get caught and nothing happens to them, it just encourages, for it to keep continuing and for others to do the same and for it to get more and more out of control. And so the only way this will stop is if these people like Sam are held accountable, actually go to jail, actually have consequences for their actions. And which leads me to a theory going around that CZ from Binance, maybe he's doled out his own form of justice. Maybe he kind of figured out what was going on here with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX and did what he could to stop it. And so note this tweet from CZ on November 6th. As part of Binance's exit from FTX equity last year, Binance received roughly $2.1 billion equivalent in BUSD and FTT. Due to recent revelations that have come to light, we've decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. And this tweet is the one that sent, this is what sent the FTT token crashing. You can see in the chart here, within a week it had collapsed. And that is what caused FTX crypto exchange to blow up. And so at the time, I saw this tweet, I actually saw it live. It didn't make sense to me. I was thinking, like, why? If somebody wants to sell a large position, why would you announce it to the whole world so everyone else can front run you and drive the price down on you? Right? You'd want to keep it quiet, not tell anybody, because you probably have to slowly sell it. It's going to take you some time to get the best price possible. Unless CZ wanted the world to front run them and wanted the price to tank, drive down the price of the FTT token. But why would he want to drive the price down on himself? Why would he want to see his own position, collapse like that? And so here's a tweet from later that same day where CZ says, liquidating our FTT is just post-exit risk management, learning from Luna. We gave support before, but we won't pretend to make love after divorce. We're not against anyone, but we won't support people who lobby against other industry players behind their backs. Note that last sentence. We won't support people who lobby against other industry players behind their backs. So with CZ dumping the FTT token to penalize Sam for supporting that crypto bill and effectively backstabbing the crypto market? And did CZ have some insight into the problems underneath the hood of FTX? And he knew by doing this he could collapse FTX, and by taking down FTX, the company, the exchange, he could effectively penalize Sam for his actions. Did CZ do it because FTX is a competitor to Binance, and this is a way for him to eliminate some competition? I don't know the answers to those questions, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some form of yes. Answer some form of yes to all those questions. And so we'll see. I'm sure we're going to learn more about this over the weeks to come. But what is coming is regulation, right? This is always, it was always on the way. All of the current events does is probably accelerate things. And, the only question now is what is it going to look like? And, all too often I get people who are convinced that governments are going to make crypto illegal. And I really don't believe that. I disagree. And even if they did, which government, right? It's pointless if just the US makes crypto illegal, but it remains legal everywhere else, right? The only way any government, or the only way you could actually try to ban crypto is if every government got together to work together to ban it. And even then, there'd still be a black market, right? Computer code doesn't listen to political boundaries. And so the only real way to stop it is if you cut off the electricity or the internet. Because otherwise it'd be a healthy black market. And, China is a great example. They outlawed Bitcoin mining last summer, yet it's still going on in the country. So if the world's most totalitarian regime can't stop Bitcoin mining in their own backyard, how is any other country going to do it, right? And the answer is they can't, right? They won't be able to. And so, but let's keep going with this. If a government did make crypto illegal, then that's just a form of censorship. And it's never the truth that is censored, it's the lies that are censored. And so if a government wants to censor crypto, well, what truth is crypto trying to tell you? And the truth is that crypto is a genuine threat to the power and control of every government. And if they, more than just censorship, if a government tried to ban crypto, it's a capital control. And capital controls have existed throughout history. It has nothing to do with crypto, but it's when, if a country is trying to prevent wire transfers out of their country or prevent exchanging their local currency into dollars or gold, The government is trying to prevent a flight out of their economy, out of their currency, right? They're trying to keep their currency afloat. And by having all that capital flee, just accelerates the collapse. And so if the government made crypto legal, that's the capital control. They're trying to prevent capital from flowing out of the current system into the new system. But what happens is, and again, not unique to crypto, but any time in history, whenever a country enacts capital controls, you know it's time to get out, not stay, right? Because the people who stay, they go down with the ship and they lose their life savings. So, government, so if they're trying to censor it or put in capital controls, that tells you you should be in crypto. It tells you it's a good thing. It tells you it's a positive. But again, I still don't think it's going to go that far. I think it's more likely that governments will maybe just try and regulate it to death. Just make it really cumbersome to use. Not totally make it illegal, but just try to effectively cripple it. And that's kind of the gist of the regulations in that DCCPA bill, and why people like Erik Voorhees are so against it. And so again, let's pretend that bill goes through as it's planned. It's just the U.S., right? The crypto industry would just move out of the U.S., go to other countries, and keep humming and ticking along just fine. No different than the Bitcoin mining left China last summer, went around to the rest of the world, got set back up, and now it's now we're moving along just fine. But so ultimately, let's talk about regulation. The whole point of Bitcoin and DeFi is it can't be stopped by a centralized authority. It's literally the whole value add. And a centralized authority is just a politically correct way of saying government. And so what'll happen here is if governments really try to stop it or hold it back, they're just going to driving themselves crazy playing whack-a-mole because they can't point gun at computer code. And so what they'll do is in the process of trying to stop it, they're going to show their hand to the world. And they're going to show how weak it is. Because if they try to stop DeFi and they can't, they're going to prove to everyone how ineffective they are. How little power they actually do have. And in turn, that'll demonstrate the true power and value of DeFi and its potential. So we'll see. There's no point dwelling on the future. We'll take it as it comes, and we'll just have to see what it is and deal with it then. But so just a side note too. When regulation comes out, it could actually be good for the sector. It could be a catalyst for it to go up. Maybe the proposed regulations will be dialed back. They'll be more prudent. They'll leave room for innovation. Maybe they'll just hone in on the CeFi stuff, leave DeFi alone for now. Or maybe they'll actually let DeFi go. Maybe give it somewhat of a thumbs up, if you will. This could give institutional investors clarity on the regulatory front, give them confidence to invest. They're more longer term money. That could drive the markets up. It's definitely within the realm of plausibility. And so in the meantime, I think we should I'll wrap this up here with Erik Voorhees' closing remarks from that podcast he did with Sam. And thank you for listening.
Those of us in this ecosystem, this industry, have created essentially a new financial foundation for the whole world. This is a huge responsibility. And the entire purpose of this financial foundation is that all of humanity can use an open, immutable financial layer. We are separating money from politics. We are separating money from the state. And in the same way that the church was separated from the state and everyone now hails that as one of the greatest things that humanity ever did, we now too, it comes to us to do the same for money. Money is as or more important to people than religion is. We interact with it every day in all sorts of manners. And just as mathematics or language are immutable and open to the entire human race, so too should the exchange and management of money. That is the principle that makes this entire ecosystem important. That is the principle that justifies everything that we do. And if we lose that, it will be something that we regret for the rest of our lives because we had that opportunity. We can't protect that principle when it comes to centralized custodians, granted. But we can protect that principle when it comes to decentralized immutable finance, which we call DeFi. That line exists to the degree that we all defend it. So that's what I'm trying to do. And my request to Sam and anyone else working on this bill is to exclude DeFi from its conception. Not because DeFi shouldn't ever be regulated, but because it is too important to screw that up, and it should not be included in a bill that contemplates how normal custodians should operate. So it's a very pragmatic request, and hopefully we can have more of these discussions in the future as this bill comes out.